This video is in response to Skallagrim's review on Windlass's buffalo horn handled sword cane, which was less than favorable, and I can't agree with that. In all fairness, I have to say that there's probably a decade difference in the age of his cane and mine. He made his video in 2015 and said he had his cane less than a year, and it was in shambles. It was not, it showed use. I've had this at least 14 years, very likely 15, and I have not experienced the problems that he has. To begin with, he both abused his cane and misused it. So we get off on the same footing. Let me describe what a sword cane is, at least in my opinion. It's a walking device, a walking aid, that can be used as a last-ditch weapon, short of open-hand combat, if need be. It's designed for soft targets, men, dogs, what have you. It was never designed to short sword, and especially a short sword repeatedly, a dead tree stump, or stab a tree stump for that matter, which he does in his video. I don't know what else he does off screen, but certainly that short swording is not the same thing to do with a sword cane. Let me explain something about swords. A sword, in its most basic form, is a bar of steel, generally sharpened, but not always, with a handle at one end. Now, when you strike something with this sword, bar of steel, if you will, boom, abrasions set up in the blade. Well, I say blade, it's the entire length of the steel bar. Blade is the part that you can see, but there's a lot that goes on underneath the handle, the hilt. And these vibrations are what destroy a sword. And this is why the rule of thumb is not to strike anything with a sword that you can't cut through. And the primary reason, it's not recommended to use the sword to cut down a tree. The axe is a tool for that. These vibrations travel the entire length of that steel bar. It's what causes the quillion to come loose, the grip come loose, and the pommel, which this does not have. When I say come loose, they could actually break. The blade could break, the tang could break right at the pommel fall off. These vibrations are what destroy a sword. And he had a number of issues. I made a list here, and I will address them one by one. I hope I include them all. That's why I made the list. Now, keep in mind, he had his less than a year when he made this video. This one is at least 14 years old and still going strong, and it doesn't set in the rack. It's used frequently. There's one big issue, the way it brings it up at first, and it is certainly an issue, is rattled. No rattle. I know what's rattling, but I don't know what caused it. I have 3 windlass sword canes, well, 2 and an umbrella, and they all are made on the same basic principle. Windlass puts a sleeve in the shaft or scabbard, if you will, that starts just about below the furrow here and runs on down. It consists of two pieces of plastic. And when you insert the blade, these two pieces of plastic sandwich the blade. And that's what prevents the blade from striking, slapping the inside of the scabbard, and that's the rattle you hear. I don't know why his does not have the sleeve. Could be a factory defect. It could be it came out after he received the sword, or maybe he loaned it to someone and it came out. I find they come loose from time to time. I had one sword, the knob handle sword came. I had no problem with that. But with this, in the umbrella, from time to time that sleeve works loose and comes out. I think maybe the oils from the blade affect the adhesive holding the plastic in place. Generally, they just come up so high when it comes loose and pull the blade, giving you a warning, you need to glue the thing back in again. I do it about every other year, I think. Sometimes they would completely come out and fall on the ground. They're plastic, somewhat hard to see once they hit the deck, and possibly it came out and no one noticed it. Although if they were familiar with the cane, as soon as they returned the blade, they would realize the liner is not there. Yeah. Sorry about that, but not all of the sword is there. The release button. Oh, back up a moment. The misuse, I don't think had anything to do with the liner coming out. It very likely did affect his release button. Those shock waves unseated the spring and he lost the spring somewhere along the way. Very likely that's what happened. He's having a problem with delamination. I have none, although his is at the base that you can't see because I have tape at that area that secures the wrist strap, and this is a nice accessory. And that gives an excellent excuse to hide the release button. That part I like. Moving on up to the handle, and this is where he has a real big issue. Let's start with the adhesive that's broken loose. Gluing a horn handle on is nothing new. It's done commonly throughout Southeast Asia, Malaysia, as far west as India, as north up into Nepal with the kukris. It's used for horn, ivory, wood, whatever. It's been done for centuries. Now, lately, and I think possibly due to the export market, they will put a pin through the handle and the tang in case there is failure, the blade won't go flying. This one, the camera would never pick it up. I can see what looks like two plugs that oppose each other, and I'm sure there's a pin underneath those plugs. I did not see that in Skallagrim's video, so possibly they deleted that pin as a production expediency cost. But that's no problem. That's just a minor thing. The glue failing could very well have been caused by these shock waves. And it was clear in the video that the grip, the handle, has a steel bushing. All one has to do is put a little Loctite, and I would suggest to start with 242, which is the least aggressive, and that should hold. If not, put another more aggressive Loctite on it, or even CA glue. This comes under a variety of different brands, super glue, the crazy glue, just to name a couple. And all he has to do is put a little Loctite on those threads, screw it down, and he would have no more problem. And certainly there's no reason to over-tighten as he did to show that it's possible to get the grip out of line. There's no excuse, no reason for that. He did not like the spacing on the grooves. Well, what can I say? One size will not fit all. I have a size 8 hand, medium if you will, and I find it comfortable. Let me check the list. Paint peeling, compression, rattle, release. I've got them all covered so far. His hand position is the big problem for him. For some reason, he really likes the butt. Talks about holding the sword by the butt. He gives point by the butt. And all of this adds additional weight. It's off balance. The balance point is somewhere around here. To the cane, it's different for the blade. And it was never designed to be used that way. He complains that this hurts his hand. The only way that this could hurt his hand is for him to support himself on it. And this is a cane, not a crutch. There's a difference. A crutch is designed to support a person, and a cane is to give stability, aid and balance. And there's no need, well, I shouldn't be holding it here to begin with, and there's no need to press down to the point it hurts his hand, because it's not a crutch. As far as carrying it, and he misses the point altogether. Here's the groove. You can carry it by the groove, or if you like, and I do this probably more often than put it by the handle, I carry it down the street like this. When need be, I have it on the ground. But it's more easy for me to carry it this way or by the grip. Furthermore, and this is something, if you try to make a crutch out of this thing and support yourself, it could very well be defeating your purpose. Because a mugger, otherwise some other unfavorable character, will see you and think, ah, infirmed, handicapped, easy target, and you are setting yourself up as a target. Not a good idea. He complains about the release button, which is here, by the way, being poorly located because he's carrying his cane here. If he carry it down here like he should, no problem. Oh, he complains about, I have no problem with the latch working. So let's see now. Okay. Let's talk about the blade, the sword, if you will. He still likes to use the butt. Call it a different technique if you will, but no way for me. The advantage I see to this grip is it extends the measure a couple of inches, probably that far. And he also has more power because his forearm is more in line with the blade than such a grip as this. I consider those two advantages very small. I have more accuracy this way, closer to the button. I can reverse the grip, and he could not understand why one would want to use a reverse grip. Anyway, in my country, motors began to operate in pairs. It's very common. They operate in pairs. One will come up behind the victim, grab him by the neck, pull him off balance, and his buddy will fleece the victim. With the reverse grip, you can cover your back side. Talks about the blade not being sharp. No fault of Windlass. No Windlass blade, sword blade, will be sharpened. It's the law of the land. Whether you buy a Windlass, Universal, Weapon Edge India, name a few, there are other companies. Italy is the same way. No sword, Italian sword, will you buy that comes factory sharpened. Now, to have a sharpened edge is not all that important, because you can give point. The point works very well. Let me check my batteries. One moment. Very good. Very good. If the blade was sharpened, it would aid in penetration, but it penetrates very well without it. It will also discourage someone from grabbing your blade. As far as cutting, it's not a cutting blade. It's for thrusting, to give point. The blade is too narrow and too light to cut effectively. Not to say it won't cut. It will cut. But that's a do-it-yourself job. Okay, that covered about everything except one last issue. And he quotes an ad, rather he quotes a line from Windlass's ad saying that this is not intended to be a medical device, and sort of sneers at it. Well, he's right. It's not a medical device. It's not intended to be. But I think he does not understand the reason for the line. So I will explain. It's the law, international law. You can do it anywhere in the world. Carry a cane. No country, no providence, no state, no canton, no city, no security company can prevent you from carrying a cane. It's international law. You can carry this, carry a cane anywhere. The problem comes in that people don't only read part of the law that they want to hear, or when they pass it on verbally, they don't get it all. Further down in the law, it states that it would describe a cane. A cane, according to the law, is a medical device. That's why the line is there. The law says a cane is a medical device. It can be carried anywhere. However, they go on to describe what a cane is, and this does not meet the definition of a cane. In fact, a lot of tools, if you will, instruments that are thought of as cane and are carried regularly as canes, thought of as canes, are not canes by the law. This is one of them. So that's to alert someone from misinterpreting and by this thing. It's legally a cane. It's a cane, but it's not a cane. I found this thing light, well balanced, easy to carry. I have other soda canes. I have about half a dozen of them. And this is, I don't really have a favorite. I got some I don't like as much as others, but I don't really have any that I prefer to others. This is a nice one. It's light. It would do the job. I've been carrying them for about 15 years now. And I've only had to draw the blade 1 pound, which is probably one more than most people will ever encounter. Glad I had it that night. So what more can I say? This is a good cane. Skallagrim paid $125, whereas the price is still $125. 5 years later, I don't know what I paid for this one. And he's dissatisfied with it, and frequently he says, well, what can you expect for that price? I expect something that's going to do the job for me at hold up. And if I treated my $750 burger cane like he treated his Windlass, it'd be in the same shape. Ciao.